All right, so I'm back with another tutorial, and this tutorial is featuring my client Margie. Now, me and Margie go a little ways back when she was in high school, doing her makeup for little events, and she's even been a muse when I was trying to learn photography. She would come to the studio and, be patient as I struggle with the camera, and we, created some fun stuff together. So I am so thankful to say that I have many clients like that. So to be able to feature some of them on my new channel is really fun. So shout out to Margie. Yeah, she's my girl. But anyway, this look is, in my opinion, probably the most natural that I've ever done on her in terms of the skin. And it's really what I want to gravitate towards more in my work. Really creating makeup that keeps the emphasis on you, where you're getting more compliments on how stunning you look versus, your makeup is beautiful, that type of thing. So again, this was fun to create because of that. This look to me screams spring. It screams bridal, maybe not like wedding day ceremony bridal, but for the bride that has multiple events coming up, maybe the shower, just different engagements where she wants a makeup that's fresh, glowy, has a pop on the eyes, but it's still keeping the skin looking like skin. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to dive into the tutorial and I hope you enjoy. So first things first, I'm going in and I'm cleansing the skin with micellar water, and I'm following with eye cream from Sunday Riley. It's called Autocorrect, as well as the Rhode's glazing fluid and glazing milk. And so these three products I've found so far with using them, they work really well to push moisture into the skin. And this is definitely something that I want to do before every makeup application because I'm using a lot of powders on the skin. So I want to make sure that the skin stays hydrated. I also follow with the Tatcha's Dewy Skin Mist, and this is going to work as my moisturizer to add even more hydration to her skin. For brows, I'm using a little bit of brow wax, brushing that through the brows before going in with a brow pen from Anastasia. So this look is keeping them really as natural as possible, just adding a little bit of definition. So I'm going in with this pen and actually creating strokes that resemble hairs and then blending it all out to create a very natural brow look. So after priming the lids with a little bit of primer, I'm going in with the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette. Now, if you watch my first tutorial, I use this. And for the sake of switching it up, I'm going to try to not include this in every tutorial, but it is one of my favorites. So I first went in with the very first and third shade just to create an all-over base to brighten her lid. And now this is the fourth shade on the second row, and I'm using this shade to warm up the lid. I'm using a very big brush to make sure I get a diffused, blown out look. So now I'm working with the third shade on the second row, and I'm using the same brush because I do want this shade to be diffused, but I want the most depth to be right in the crease where I'm working with. So this is why I'm lifting her eye to make sure that the eyeshadow stays the darkest right in that area, and then I'll still use that color to blow it out across the lid. And less is definitely more with this step. So if you take your time and blend with just a small amount of eyeshadow, you'll get a very diffused airbrush finish. So now I'm using the first color on the third row to hug the lash line and to create a smoky liner effect. I'm also going to use this same shade to create a wing. So I feel like this is a great tip if you struggle with creating a cat eye with a traditional eyeliner. Try with shadow. It's going to give you a very pretty diffused look, and if you make any mistakes, it's easy to cover. And for this step, as well as working colors into the crease, ideally you want your eyes to be open. So of course, if you're doing makeup on yourself, your eyes are going to be open, but even with clients, you want them to look straight out and then work to create the crease or create the wing so that you can see your placement as it's going to look with their eyes open. And as you can see, Margie has her eyes open and closed, more closed during this process, but this is just because of filming. So this is my tip, and I feel like it's really helpful when creating this look on yourself or clients. And as a final step on her lid, I'm using the Peptide eyeshadow duo in the shade Do You Know Who I Am? And as you can see, it gives the most expensive looking shine that catches the light, and it's just really beautiful. So as the last step, we're going to do a little bit of lining on top and bottom. I'm using my OG liner from MAC, Teddy. It's one of my favorites to this date, one that I keep in my kit. It's the perfect shimmery chocolate liner that's going to give definition without being a super dark black. So it's one of my favorites. I'm going to smoke that out along the lash line, and then I'm also going to work some of the eyeshadows that I use on top and work that on the bottom lash line as well to create definition there. So popped on a few lashes, and then we moved straight on to skin. And so for skin, I'm using the Peptide Major Skin Hydrolux Luminous Skin Perfecting Foundation. That's the full name. And I think it lives up to its long name. One thing that I've found that I really like about this foundation is, even though it is one of the most luminous foundations that I've ever used, I don't feel that it makes you greasy or oily looking as the day goes on when you're wearing it. I've worn it myself, being a combination skin type, and I feel that I look more hydrated as the day goes on versus greasy or oily. And as you can see on Margie, it just gives a very beautiful skin-like finish. And so as the next step, because this foundation is considered like a medium coverage, I'm going in with a little concealer and building coverage in areas in which I need that I didn't get the full coverage from the foundation. And for this look, I really didn't want to do any heavy contouring or anything like that. So I'm picking up the Huda Beauty's bronzer cream and just using a small amount across the hairline, the jawline, the ears, the neck, all the places where I want to add a little bit of warmth to Margie's skin. Now I'm going in with a little concealer, just in places where I feel like I need to touch up to add a little bit of brightness. And then of course the under eye. I'm using a very small amount because, again, I want the skin's finished look to be almost undetectable. It's makeup, but it doesn't really look like makeup. And to add a little extra glowiness to the skin, I'm using highlighter, cream highlighter, just on the high points before going in with cream blush. This cream blush is Orgasm by NARS. It's the prettiest baby pink color, and you can see it instantly just gives a little color to Margie's skin, and I'm blending that out with my foundation brush just to make sure everything is seamless. I'm then using a small amount of powder just in the areas where I want to get rid of any shine, but then to also set the skin because I'm going to be adding powder blush, and I don't want any of the products that I put on top to stick to the foundation. So this step is really important, but again, I'm using a small amount because I want the skin to remain very fresh and dewy. To finish off the skin, I'm using a brow pencil to add Margie's freckles back before adding a little bit of blush. This is a brand new blush from NARS in the shade Dominant, and I'm using a very small amount. We then went for a very peachy, nudie lip, which I feel complements the look beautifully on her. And so this is the final look. As a reminder, this is the beautiful Margie before and the stunning Margie after we completed this peachy, glowy glam. I pulled her hair up also, and I want to know from you in the comments, which look do you prefer with the makeup? Do you like the bangs up? Do you like them down? Do you prefer her hair down with the look? Let me know. I hope you found at least one helpful tip in this tutorial, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that you don't miss the next one.